Hey, welcome to the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina. My name is Bobby Dave, CEO and founder of Foundry. We've got some lo-fi beats today, but we have some huge news in the tech industry, Kevin.
Do we? Somebody buy something?
Yeah.
Did we do something?
Elon
That's normally what it is
Twitter
these days.
yet.
Exactly. It's like, what did Elon buy today? That's normally
Yeah, exactly.
how it goes.
Though his Tesla reportings from yesterday blew the doors off everybody.
Yeah.
Tesla made a lot of money.
Did that shoot the stock price up too then?
Yeah, it did.
I own like one Tesla. Oh, it did.
It was up $9 this morning.
Look at that. I mean,
when I looked this morning.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, that did well. Yeah. 6% up today too, by the way. So,
yeah. It was 9% earlier in the morning, but
okay, cool. I'll take that. My one Tesla share.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
We're now the official members of the Elon Musk fan club. It's just me and you. You know, we're co-presidents.
That's probably true. That's probably true. And I'm not sure I'm on board yet. So
yeah, exactly. We're still like on our edge. Like I don't know.
Like, do we like him? Do we not like him?
The car.
Do we trust him? Yeah, exactly. Do we trust him? Like that's the other thing. Like I'm not sure I trust the guy, but there you go.
Yeah. No, but seriously, you know, I've been talking about this for a while, but you know, we've been talking about WebAssembly here and building Blazor apps and those kind of things for a while. And this morning, I read an article on the WebAssembly 2.0 roadmap, which is kind of cool. And so now WebAssembly 2.0 begins to take shape. And, you know, when I talked about Blazor this year and last year, people come back and says, it'll never take over JavaScript. It'll never do this. It'll never do that. And I guess now this better puts it in line for you now to know that this is actively being worked on. And so what you see in WebAssembly 1.0, what you can do today, it's not a finished thing yet. And so they're continue to work on, you know, obviously bringing JavaScript in so you can bring libraries into WebAssembly, those kind of things. There's just a lot of work going on in here, and it's supported by all the FANG companies, you know, except for maybe Netflix, since they lost so many subscribers, they may be taken off the FANG list. So.
Maybe. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, it is funny. So Netflix has a high value, but it's also like they're losing subscribers, and it's like they are like a fish out of water in that list, aren't they?
They are.
It is
They're
funny.
Not.
It is. And I was like, why is it that? Like, is it about time?
And why Microsoft isn't on the FANG list, I don't know. Like, why they're not listed there. Like, it's kind of crazy.
But you know, FAMG
whatever
or whatever. Well, not even
it just doesn't make a good.
It's MAMG now because Facebook isn't even a thing anymore. So we need somebody needs to come up with the latest and greatest new acronym for whatever those or tech companies are, whatever we're calling them.
Something with two M's in it.
Exactly, something with 2 M's in it. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, this is cool. You can go read the entire spec, by the way, if you want to. W3.org has the entire spec. It's very technical.
I think, it's very technical. It talks about how you would call this from, you know, WebAssembly and JavaScript. So like, it's not. I'm not gonna sit here and say I read all of this, the specification. You know, so like, but what I think the takeaway here is that this is actively being worked on. A lot like when you look at the past where JavaScript as a spec was being worked on in the browser. You know, CSS as a spec is being worked on in the browser. WebAssembly is here to stay, and that just means that as this WebAssembly 2.0 becomes more solid and approved, then you'll start seeing the tooling vendors pick up these functionality. And Blazor's still ahead of the game on everyone else out here as far as what they're building for tooling. So just something to be aware of.
You can see like WebAssembly.org has the roadmap listing. You can see like what's supported already and in what browsers, and it's like the core browsers at this point have support for at least the 1.0 stuff. This is going to be more 2.0 stuff, but you know it's coming. They've just obviously started working on some of this, but it's here now in terms of support. We've mentioned that before. I mean, obviously these things, the only thing that's not supported is something in Safari that this fits with.
That's shocking.
Oh, but it's like you know,
Safari's it's the lagger. So yeah,
you know how that is. But so all the other stuff coming. So yeah, kind of cool. You can check this out, webassembly.org, if you're interested.
Yep. And that's truly what Blazor is built on top of. It's about building WebAssembly or WASM applications. So kind of cool. It's coming. So just pay attention. So maybe say hello to some people. We got some other things, some good hot tech news. Yeah.
On Ridge Raiders, Magma, Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple. I like
Magma.
I think that works.
Ridge. I think it's Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Apple. Just saying, but so I think you got your M's a little bit mixed up there.
I'll take either or. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that's a
good
idea.
Magma.
I think that's great.
You need to
start just
put a copyright on that thing, man.
Own
Trademark
it,
that
and
thing.
then own it, and then that's it. You just gotta publish it somewhere. You're very welcome. I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Ufi?
Good job, man.
And I hope I'm saying it right. If not, you can yell at me over your screen.
Awesome.
But that's cool. Yeah. Congrats. We just love hearing that. That's always good stuff.
Yeah.
Hearing the advice that we give and people take it and then go places. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna do Q&A just like we normally do. We'll do one other thing first, but we'll do Q&A. So if you want to drop them in the chat, drop the questions in the chat. And we will get to them in the order that they come in. If you want to jump the queue, you can always super chat. That will pop up on the screen, and we'll do those as they come in too. Otherwise,
you can buy me tacos for lunch today if you want to. So
that's it. Otherwise, I would just go through and pick the questions, and I ask that you please don't spam them, because if you do, I won't pick them.
Hammer, bam.
That's it.
Also, enter our giveaway. When we reach 100,000, we're going to give away a pretty good prize pack. So, still looking for that elusive 100K.
Yep.
So we just got a sub there. Alex Brunn, thank you. Hey, Alex. All right. One step closer.
You can go right up here and enter the giveaway.
Yep.
So when we hit the 100,000, you can get it.
Yeah.
One other quick thing to talk about then. I think this is a big one. So before we do Q&A, our friend Coding Phase, Joe Santos, tweeted this the other day, and I was like, man, this this story needed more love. It needed more coverage. So we're going to talk about it real quick. Force put out this article, basically that the tech job market's super hot right now. Salaries going up, recruiting going up, remote work going up, like everything's on the rise.
Yeah. And it's blazingly hot.
And we were talking about this. We can't remember a time where it's ever been as hot.
No, maybe 98, right around
right at the
thing. Yeah, right when web first came out.
Yep.
But even
this
then,
is not a bubble,
the
though.
Sheer number of this is not a bubble. This is the way the industry and how we do commerce and how we build things is going. This is the new thing. And so when I see this report, and we get these questions all the time: is AI going to take my job? It's like, no.
Right.
Right. AI's not taking your job, man.
Yep. We'll talk about that too. AI is not where it needs to be right now. My iRobot vacuum thinks it's stuck on a cliff when it's like stuck on the chair leg. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not that smart yet. It's a smart vacuum. It's not that smart. It's just not there yet.
It's like, is your vacuum smarter than a fifth grader? And we're like, not really.
No, it's definitely not.
It's a definite fear of heights. It definitely has a fear of heights.
It does. It does, because it gives the message. It says it's stuck on a cliff, and it's like, dude, you're nowhere near a cliff. Like, what's happening? You're stuck on a chair leg. Like what? Like, you're nowhere near a cliff. It's funny.
I thought they made a mesh of the room, and it's like, dude, what do you think? The room changed?
Well, they do.
What's going on
they
here?
do, but like they have this habit of going back to the same spot and getting stuck in the same spot. They have these, so they have sensors, right? They have these little towers you can put down. So you put down this little tower so it won't go to that spot. But they only give you one of those towers. You can buy the extra ones. I have a couple, like to block off like different regions. But it's like there's still a couple places it still gets stuck. And I'm like, I'm not buying extra towers to stop the vacuum from riding over that chair like that. It's ridiculous. Like, just learn.
I'm surprised that you don't get the message like stuck on a cliff. Want to buy a new tower? Click here.
I'm surprised. That would maybe they're missing something there. That's probably a thing. Because I'd be like, yes, I'm sick of going to grab it. But anyway, this quote from this article was great. So basically, the article was based on a study by Hired.com, and they put out this this study, and then the guy from Hired.com, his quote is so good. He said amid the ongoing tech talent shortage, the demand for software engineers on Hired has doubled, with candidates receiving more than twice the amount of interview requests than in 2020. And this was only a study from 2021 to 2022, by the way, or 2020 to 2021. And we know for a fact that it's gone even higher than that this year. The first 6 months of the past 6 months of this year have been insane.
Right.
We've seen it way more than we've ever seen it. So we know that salaries are going up, demand's going up. I've seen more and more people with less knowledge breaking in than ever.
breaking in because there's just no one else to do the work. And so like, it doesn't mean that you can just break in with anything, but I think if you're doing something like we build out here in Coder Foundry and you can remotely talk about it and you go through the paces, interviewing 10 or 20 times and put your work in, you'll get a job. I mean, like, now, if you don't have any skills whatsoever, they're not going to hire you. But like, if you have a really great portfolio, you got some projects on it, you can show them, you can talk about them. You might not get the first interview you get because you got to get good at interviewing, but like, and that just takes practice. But if you do that, you're going to land. We've seen people coming out of the boot camp that have landed, and we're like, and they were kind of, you know, okay, or
like
less
C
than
students,
okay students,
right?
Yeah, C students.
I'll call like a C student, somebody who like passes, they get by.
Yeah.
They're not top of the class. They're not, you know,
right.
People aren't going to them for help. They're doing their work and getting it done. And you know,
and there's plenty of jobs out there. And so, but the salaries has gone through the roof too. I mean, like, it's crazy what a mid or senior. And then the number one role that we looked at when we look at the hire was full stack, and we still teach full stack web dev here at Coder Foundry. It's still the number one role in America, UK, and Canada, which is
right here. Like, it was one of their takeaways here. Like, full stack engineers saw the highest demand.
Yep. Now there is some demand for security engineers, which makes sense. So if you want to do something a little different, we don't teach that, but if that's what you want to learn,
this had the highest salary, the highest salary increase.
Right. So here's what we think. You have to read these and kind of read between the tea leaves. When you see highest salaries, well, that's true. But if you're trying to break in, that means that segment of the market is probably a little bit more competitive. So then if you go to full stack, it's like the most demand, and that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. And it's not like you're getting paid peanuts here. I mean, some of the full stack web devs are making very close to what these high-end security engineers would be. And if you're a rock star in either one of these fields, you're going to get paid top dollar no matter what. So I feel like this is a good report, and there's never been a better year ever to learn how to code than right now.
Now is definitely
right now. Whether you go to Coder Foundry or you go somewhere else, it doesn't really matter. This is the year that you need to get off the fence and start learning how to code, and do that this year. Break in while this job market is super, super hot. You know, super hot.
Definitely. Speaking of, take this look. We got a job off this week for 87K.
Nice.
I like it. Hold on, we got a little. Let's do a little
competition.
Confetti.
They're confetti, man. Yeah, Troy. Good job.
Congrats, Troy. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's very, very cool. Always good to see. Wait for the confetti to finish. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's great. Congrats, Troy. Awesome.
I'm still seeing like remote work, and Hired is backing this up, that we're still seeing remote work from smaller segments or smaller markets. So like New York and California, people reaching into places like North Carolina, you know, Virginia, you know, East Coast cities.
Austin was big on that list too, by the way.
Austin's a huge tech center.
There was a lot of like, what you wouldn't consider traditional tech cities, because remote goes up and there's a lot of population in those cities. Like, you see an increase in tech jobs in the fairly bigger cities, but aren't tech focused cities, and they're calling them smaller, smaller tech markets. So a lot more of that. That was one of the takeaways too. So, but keeping the high salaries too. Like, you know, we're not
still getting paid in Greensboro, North Carolina, still getting paid in Kernersville. I mean, like, these guys and ladies are doing if they've got the skills, they kind of have their pick of positions and things like that. So it should be really good, really nice.
Definitely. Okay, so again, usual Q&A. Throw them in chat. I will queue them up, and we will go through the questions. If you want to super chat, you can do that too. You can throw those up there, and you will jump.
Get on the leaderboard. Put yourself on the leaderboard over there.
Yeah, get yourself on the board. I've got a few queued up here too. So let me. These.
So see if we can help some people
and
today.
It's funny, we have seen some of this too. Yeah, some places leaving employees remote, renew leases on offices.
I think that could be a thing. I mean, definitely, that's one of the problems.
Some bigger companies.
Yeah, and if you read about like New York and San Francisco, and I mean, that you could see that as being a casualty. But I do think some companies are still want people to work in person now. So it's going to be a mixture of both. And some companies are embracing it. Some are trying to get it back in. And remote employees are now pushing back on interviews. Oh, if you're not remote, I'm not interested, because there's enough opportunity where they don't have to take a yes or take every interview request.
Right.
They don't have to.
And I've also seen some cities getting kind of like, I know Charlotte for one, right? So my wife worked in Charlotte when she was going to the office, and it's like she had to go down for something. It's like it's like a ghost town downtown. Like it's like all the businesses that were like food places that were serving the people at lunchtime have all shut down. So these bigger companies are trying to get people to go back to the office. I think the cities kind of want that too, to kind of bring back some of the things as well.
The downtown was a big business, so like
downtown was a big business, and now it's not. So you know, places like Charlotte, and I'm sure other mid-sized cities are having that same issue as well. Everybody's not there anymore, so a lot of companies haven't been able to reopen. Okay. Do some questions then. You ready for some questions?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Big O wants to know any chance of an Angular course.
Our first course that we'll push out this year will be on Blazor first. That's the first thing we're going to do. Now we're going to do Web API, and then you can definitely put Angular on top of that. But we'll just see how much we can get done this year. So I'd like to do it, but
it's not on our roadmap, is it? Right now.
Yeah, not really. Just because of the amount of stuff we have to build.
And I think if we're going to do one first, it'll be React over Angular.
Yeah. And if we did one before that, we're definitely doing Blazor before we do React.
Right. So
we just feel like that's where it's going to go anyway. So might as well get there.
Yep. Let's see. Harun says, thank you for providing content for us beginners. I'm on a 5-month of my learning path, applying and grinding. Awesome. Keep at it. Harun,
keep grinding, baby. Yeah, I like it.
Just keep building things.
Awesome.
Keep building things. Keep showing people.
Yep.
That's it. Good luck with everything. Let's see. We've got a lot of questions that aren't that are all for us at this point. Relatively new to this YouTube page. You guys have private self-paced bootcamp. We do. You can go to learn.codifoundry.com. It's up there. You look.
It's up there. Just go up there, and then we have we have 3 different price options. We have a monthly, we have a semi-monthly, and an annual. So you can do it however you want.
If you buy the annual pricing, by the way, use code portfolio, you will get 20% off.
Okay.
It's still
nice.
It's still
little hidden nugget there.
There you go. It's kind of we published it before, but we don't talk about it all the time. But if you do it, your annual coupon code portfolio will get you 20% off.
Yeah, that gets that price way down, man. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Nesh said, hi, if we get fired from a dev job, how do we handle it during an interview at another company when they ask, why did you leave your old job?
Just telling you we're looking for new opportunities. Yeah, just looking for new opportunities, and that's why I was left. You know, I wouldn't say that the company fired me, and I wouldn't say that they suck. You know, just say, hey, I like my time there, but, you know, I just want to look for other opportunities. So that's what I would do then. Hey, thanks, Casper.
Casper,
yeah, we got little tacos.
I wrote a longer message in chat. Yeah, I'll get to that, Casper. I do see it there. Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think that goes for any company though too, right? When you get when you get fired, it's like, what's your obligation? Do you have to say, oh, I was fired, I made a major mistake?
Yeah.
Like, no, you just say
exactly. Yeah.
You know, don't read too much into it. They're not going to do a massive amount of research and go to the company and try and figure out exactly what happened, because there's, depending on what country you're in, there's also rules around what they can and cannot say around that kind of
thing.
Well,
and then, you know, we all leave jobs for reasons. If you've worked long enough, you've always been fired somewhere. Usually, sometimes something happens, you know, and it's okay. You can definitely start over. You don't have to lay it all out there, you know. Like, you know, I was late 90% of the time, and they finally let me go.
Here's the tip.
But I promised to be on time here. So.
Exactly. I wasn't fired for being late, but I promise I'll be on time here.
Exactly.
So here's the other thing: as the words are coming out the boss's mouth, you'll be like, "I quit.
I quit. You can't fire me. I quit.
You can't fire me." Yeah. Good luck with that. but don't overthink it. Just it's fine. Just
don't overthink it.
Yeah. Just say, you know, we parted ways. I decided I wanted to do something else. That's okay.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in what you're doing, and it's spin it into why you're interested in their company. So I think it'd be good.
Yep, exactly. They'll soon get off that, and see that you're interested in what they're actually.
Yep.
Chad says, is there any preference in particular to wow people functionality-wise, as in something neat back-end-wise or something visually neat front-end-wise? No, not a dumb question. Yeah, not a dumb question. We're actually just remaking a video about this, aren't we?
Yeah, we're making a video that should come out in the next week or so. But like in general, I think you have to do both. And I know that sounds crazy, but and I don't like saying this, you had to pick one. They both need to be like functionally on both sides. But people are visual buyers, and I think the first thing you see is the front end. So your front end absolutely needs to look great. So I always take this, if you're buying a car on the lot, it's got a big scratch down the door, you're looking at a different car or something else. It doesn't matter what they tell you about or what discount they give you, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep looking. So like it has to be visually professional, clean UI. And then I think it has to solve a business problem. So back-end wise, you have a database, you have security, all those things really pop in an interview. Hey, you log in, we're enforcing roles. And then I have all of my CRUD functionality on the back end. That's not just CRUD for CRUD's sake, but it actually solves a real business problem. I think you put all of that together and you have the WOW app, what we call the essential coding project. So it should be cool. Hope that helps.
There you go. Yeah,
it's
you can go watch.
Question.
So no, not at all. You can go watch our one coding project video. Just go into Google and put coding project in the search term. It'll be one of the first few videos there. That's actually the one that we're remaking. We're redoing another version of that for 2022. But it's just kind of the same advice, really. We just want an updated, fresher version in YouTube. But it pretty much tells you there everything that you need to know. But yeah, there's some things you can definitely you're talking about, can you wow people functionality-wise, something front-end or back-end? Just having, like Bobby said, having a fully functional app that looks great is the wow thing. Because look at some other people's work. It's not that.
They're showing tic-tac-toe or Pokedex or Connect 4, and those don't really solve a business problem. You walk in with a business app with a database and security, and they're like, wow, okay. That's kind of cool. Let's hire this person.
Yep.
So hope that helps, Chad.
Okay. Let's see. To Casper's now. Thank you for the super chat.
Right, Casper.
It's a two-parter. It says,
two-parter.
Hey guys, a while ago you featured my little appreciation post saying I'm a farm worker, lumberjack from Eastern Europe, learning web dev in the evenings, and the content is great. I do remember that. Yep. So let's see. It says, here I am again, writing a full stack web dev, from scratch to job in 8 months. There you go. I've been employed for a year now. It's awesome. Your optimism clearance was a great boost. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
That's great, man.
Love that.
That's what we're talking about, man. Like, and scratch the job in 8 months was the kind of what we say. Like, you should be able to do this in less than a year if you commit an amount of time to it. Not 1 day a week and 1 hour a week, but like you put a significant block of time in that, you can do this in a year. So it's good. Great job, Casper. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that time frame too. Don't get hung up on the time frame, everybody. It is what it is for everybody. Like, just it might take you. You might see Casper and be like, man, I'm on like month 9 and I haven't done anything yet. Don't worry. Like, it's everybody's different. You learn stuff at a different pace. Like, your commitment level might not be the same amount of commitment level that Casper did. He's talking about like he took 8 months to do it, right? But maybe he was working like 4 hours every day for 8 months. You don't know. It's how many hours you put into it, and and you've got to put in hundreds of hours. We just know that.
Yeah, we think 600 to 700 hours, something like that. But you could do it in 3 months full time, or you can do it over a year. So, that's what I think.
Yep, definitely. This is funny. You'd probably rather be fired than quit if you need unemployment. Yeah, but that's not the attitude, is it, Brent? Come on, that's not the attitude. You shouldn't be like,
we want to stay employed as a developer.
Exactly.
We make
come on.
more money.
Our first instinct shouldn't be like, man, I need to get that unemployment. Like, it should be like, where's my next job? That should be the thing. Which in this market, that's exactly the way that it is. Like, where's my next job? It's if you're a mid to senior right now, it's super hot. Like, it's even hotter than it is for juniors.
Yep, for sure.
Let me see. Good one. This is from Nelson. Nelson says, how would you approach learning front end if you were to start all over again, especially learning JavaScript? Not only that, but being over 40.
Okay. So Nelson, I'm going to tell you something secret. age is a state of mind when it comes to coding. If you like to learn things, it doesn't matter if you're 40 or 50. So, you know, being over 40, you can definitely do this. So what I do is we take approach to building something very simple first, and then we focus on 3 core concepts that I think you need to know about. First off, we reverse a string early on. That teaches about an arrays. Arrays is an essential data structure you need to understand. We then take the reversing a string and we build a palindrome checker to see if the reverse string equals the previous string. Now we've talked about decisioning, if, then, else, and those operators. And that's where I would start. And then we move on to things like FizzBuzz and printing out numbers on a page. DOM manipulation. Can you take a value from the page? Can you push it to in a different form back to the page? And so that's what we go through that, and we accumulate all of that around building a loan calculator, which takes all of these skills all together and puts it together. And the third key concept is learning about objects. So I think objects are key to understand for JavaScript. So you can study arrays, loops, if, then, else, conditional statements, operators, and then objects. So
importantly, put it into practice. Like, don't just learn them in a silo. Like, don't just learn them in a silo, because that's like, it's abstract, right? You need to make it concrete. You need to build an app using those things too, and then that's it. You've got it.
Yeah, so we do all that in the Learn.Foundry course, Nelson. If you want to look at self-paced course, we go through 4 or 5 JavaScript problems that you solve, and they teach you all these different techniques. So
I don't want to talk about it explicitly yet, because we're going to do a video on it, but we thought of a new one yesterday too.
Yeah, a new one. That's kind of cool, right?
Both of Bobby and I are like, yeah, this is great. We like this one.
All right, like, I'm going to ask you ad hoc. Did you like my logo? Did you like it?
I didn't look at it yet.
Oh.
I didn't get a chance to look at it. I saw the email, but I saw it like right before we got on, and I was like, oh, I need to look at that. I haven't looked at it yet, so
all right.
I didn't look.
That's our little inside baseball talk. I made a logo. Kevin will change it. It'll be good.
Okay. It might be good already. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet. It's been like 2 years since I started learning web development. These 2 years I haven't learned anything, and I can't really make it. What are the odds of me making it as a front-end developer? I wonder what that means.
Well,
do you just feel like you haven't learned anything, or you genuinely just haven't learned anything? So then, if you haven't genuinely learned anything, you haven't been learning for 2 years, have you?
Right. I mean, you started 2 years ago, but how much effort have you put in over 2 years? So we don't know the answer to that question. So, like, this is going to take some effort. Have you put in, 4 or 5 hours a week, or is it 1 hour every month? So if it's an hour a month, you spent 12 hours over a year, you probably haven't learned much. You need to spend 500 hours to 600 hours doing this. So carve off your weekends or your nights when you're not working, and start over. So what are the odds? You can make it if you commit to learning the skill. You can get a job doing this. Depending on where you live, I don't know every position and every place in the world, but if you have skills, you should get hired. Now, what do you need to do? You need to build a portfolio of projects. That should be your goal for all your learning right now. So, and you need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some kind of backend language. And then a database language like SQL, which is only really one, SQL. So put that in there. Hope that helps, man. Keep going. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Just do more of it.
Just do more. If you felt like you haven't learned anything, it also makes me think that you also haven't built anything. Because if you would have built something, you would have solidified your learning and been like, wow, I actually built that. And then you're going to realize and recognize that you have learned something. So I would suggest maybe you have learned something, you don't feel like you have. So try building some things.
Yeah, try to build stuff.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, and I can't pronounce the name, obviously. Sorry. Is it a good idea just to demo a Udemy course project as mine on a portfolio?
I think you know the answer to this.
That's right. That's why you're asking. Yeah.
So let's talk about the levels of what we're talking about. If you go to a Udemy course, and you can't do this at Learn.Codifier, but most of the Udemy courses are like this. And at the bottom of the page, you have go to GitHub and download the repo. And you just download the repo, stick it on your portfolio, and then try to demo that. No, it's not good enough because you didn't really build it. You didn't recreate it. You don't understand it. So here's the thing that you need to do if you're going to take, for example, Yelp Camp or something like from Cold Steel's Web Developer Bootcamp, like you need to probably improve on it, change it up, make it look different, change the name. Don't call it Yelp Camp, call it some other kind of camp. Change the layout and the look and feel of it, and then demo it. And that way it doesn't look like everyone else's. But even if it does look like everyone else's, be prepared to talk about the code on the back end of it. How did you build this feature? What I did, and those kind of things. If you can do that, you can do well. Thanks, Brent. Thanks for the tacos.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I'll get to your point here in a second. Did have a question too, and enough in chat. Which was
so it's just like if you just like think you can cut and paste it and stick it in your portfolio and get a job, that's where people are mistaken. You can't fake this till you make it. You've got to be able to talk about it. So if you're going to buy the Udemy course, go through the effort of taking the course, actually understand the concepts, do the work, and then put it on your portfolio and talk about it.
Here's the thing too, though. I would actually suggest like you have to be careful even with that approach, even with the approach that means you're doing a whole bunch of work, cannot be the most ideal approach. Because let's say that you do build Yelp Camp, right? Trust me, every hiring manager in the country has seen that project before. They've seen it on somebody's portfolio. It's like it's not as impressive as something else. So if you can adapt it, change it, enhance it, do something else with it, you're gonna get more props for sure. Can you technically just build it and put it on there? Sure. But trust me, the person that's looking at it, it's not their first rodeo, right? You're not the first like newbie developer that they're going to be looking at. There's going to be other people trying to do the same thing too. So the more you can stand out with the project, the better.
Yeah, I wouldn't even make it about camping sites. I'd do something else. I'd make it cars, houses, real estate. Right. I mean, all of those things that you could do could be retrofitted for Yelp Camp, and you're just changing the images. It's still doing the same thing. Maybe the properties of the data you're saving. Yep. So Raider Mac, thank you, man. All right.
Yeah, Raider Mac, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. If you have a question, throw it up there. I didn't see one.
Yeah, thank you.
I did. I do have one from you. I got it in the chat. Cool.
Anyway, I hope that helps. He's got a Chinese name. We don't know your name, so
might have offended somebody. That's funny. My group did a Pokedex project with React Spring.
Yes. So
we're not saying it's bad.
We're not saying it's bad, and I'm not making fun of you, okay? But what I'm telling you is, if you're doing this to get a job, I see that project all the time. Now, notice too, you said you did it as a group. I need you to think about this. Think about something that you could build on your own, all right? And so Pokedex has an API, and it seems to be popular among certain boot camps and certain schools, okay? But it's not a business-focused project, and it's based on the children's game. So there's two things going against it. So maybe you interview with somebody, and he plays Pokemon, he likes it. Or maybe it's Get Off My Lawn guy, and he thinks Pokemon's stupid. So you don't know what the context is going to be received in. And then what does your Pokedex project actually do? Is it just list Pokemon? I mean, is that it? And it's just really calling the API and just listing the images out? What else could you do with it? You know, so I would rather you build something in and around another kind of API than Pokemon. So NASA Space Image API, Open Weather API. There's a bunch of these out here where you can start building something that can be seen more professional. You know, you can still use React and Spring. You know, that's not the problem. It's the thing that you built it on. It's the
you got to think about something
itself.
A little bit more pro, don't you? That's the kind of thing.
That's what I think. Yeah. And we're going to release a list of 5 pro projects that could compete with Pokedex and give you a leg up in one of those. One of those I think right now is a mortgage calculator. So like you could build a thing where you can enter in an interest rate, a loan amount, and a term, and calculate the payments for that term and show what the payments would be. You know, so much better than that, you know. So, I mean, I think that's...
Well, there's a follow-up. Just to clarify, I think it's stupid, but democracy won.
I understand that.
So that's because it's a group project. Yeah, that's how it works. I get it. Yeah.
And so Zach, if you're looking to, you need to not put it on your portfolio and then build your own thing on what you learned from that project. So. Yep.
Okay. The next one. So I want to learn AI, machine learning, web dev, ethical hacking, app dev, game dev. I just can't choose. How can I choose? But I want to learn everything.
You can't learn everything, so you have to pick one.
You can over a lifetime, maybe.
Nah. I've been doing it a long time. I don't know how to build games, really.
That's true.
I've tried. I mean, but I'm not.
Even if you just take one of these, right? You just take web dev, like that alone.
That's what I would choose.
It's like a giant field, though, to learn everything, even within that, right? So it's like you can't learn. Yeah.
You can't learn it all.
Yeah, you just have to pick one. The best thing you can do is, what do you ultimately want to do? If you want to do it for fun, pick any of them. If you want to do it for a job, do research.
Pick web dev. Yeah, pick web dev.
Just pick web dev. Ultimately, here out of this list, web dev.
Yeah.
Ethical hacking, maybe information security kind of stuff is also popular, but the other ones are more fringe for sure, and there's less opportunities in them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So since you can't choose, I'll choose for you. Pick web dev.
There you go. Here you go. So Brent, thank you for the super chat. It says, we've heard a lot about tacos here. How's the barbecue? Best place to go.
Like, I've been asked this a lot. We live down the street from like the barbecue capital of the entire planet. It's called Lexington, North Carolina.
I've never been and eaten barbecue there, you know.
Oh, it's good. It's so good.
I've been to all the barbecue around here, but not to Lexington.
Yeah. So I think we have some good ones right across the street here from the office. Clark's is really, really good. And then Prissy Polly's down the street, less than a half a mile from her. It's also really good.
That's pretty good.
So it's right here in Kville. We have two really great barbecue places. That I think amazing.
I think Prissy Polly's does both. So if you don't know barbecue in North Carolina, there's two different styles too, right? There's like Eastern and Lexington. So so Eastern is like vinegar based, which is not the common one across the US, and then Lexington's more like the rest of the US. Like sauce based. So but like that Eastern style one, the vinegar one. Yeah, because it's unique. I
like that.
It's unique.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, it is good. So yeah, go for anything with Eastern just to try, because it is different. Eastern Carolina barbecue's good.
Yeah, in South Carolina you have mustard barbecue, which is good too. So if you're in South Carolina, Brent, I don't know if you've ever been there. So in Columbia, there's a lot of places there that are good. So it's really good.
Let's see. Simon said renewal of my course sub was a reminder that I need to get started. Yeah, if you haven't done it in the last year, Simon, come on, you gotta get on that.
You can do it, Simon. Keep going, man. You can do it.
Get on it, and thank you for renewing too. By the way, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Thank you for sticking around. Let's see. Ridge Raider says, is 12 too young to learn how to code? Really not a joke this time as well. You've missed the boat at 12. I think at 12 you're like, man, if you didn't start at 6, like, I don't think 12's too young at all. Like 12 is actually.
I think you can learn.
Jokes aside, I think 12 is like, if you're gonna start young, it's like you can start younger, way younger.
So there's a lot of drag and drop coding types things that you can do. There's also stuff built on robots and Legos that has some really cool stuff for young teens and stuff like that. So I think you can definitely do it. So
there's some platforms specifically designed to teach young kids. So I know our friend Hashim has 2 younger children and a boy and a girl. And he says his daughter was like loving. She knew loops and everything on it, and she was she was less than 10. At the time. So yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, there's specific apps. There's an app on the App Store, and I can't remember what it's called. There's also like Grasshopper is kind of kids friendly.
Grasshopper's one. It's kind of kid friendly. Yeah. Code Academy kind of is. I mean,
yeah, there's a few out there specifically designed for kids. So yeah, definitely, get them on it. So Luke says a good
nice.
It's wrapping up his 2nd week as a pro C shop. Awesome.
Yes.
Love.
He went pro. I love it, man. Awesome.
It's great to see you guys come back and into the chat here and be like, I did this.
I hadn't seen Luke in a while. He's back when we first launched, so that's cool.
Yeah. And actually, Paul's here too. So hey, and we're doing awesome. I hope you are too. Been vouching for Paul on Twitter.
His Twitter strategy. Tweet about NFTs.
The NFTs. No. It was crypto, Web3, crypto. That's a good video, Paul. I like that video. It was really good. If you aren't going to watch Coding After 30, Paul's little short video, go watch it. It's funny. It's how to get.
It's pretty funny.
How to hit the YouTube sub gold mine. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Here's one up your street.
Absolutely not, man. And look at that logo. Yes, Raider Nation. I love it. By the way, we're winning the AFC West this year, Raider Mac. You know it's true. You know, you want to believe. It's hard to believe, but you want to believe, and we're going to win it. So, all right. So non-relational database, is he talking about like NoSQL databases? I don't think any of these technologies are dead. Yeah. None of, I mean, it's just that relational DBs never went anywhere because they work really well. And, you know, when people say, hey, everything should be in a NoSQL database, you're like, nah, I don't think so. You know, I see what you're doing there, but like not every problem can be solved that way. And relational DBs really solve it really well. And then when you take in things like SQL and Oracle, performance, scalability, and all that kind of stuff, it's just not going anywhere. Relational DBs is nowhere far from being dead, but also Mongo and Couch and all those kind of things.
Yeah, I'd say if you're doing it for a personal project or whatever, it doesn't matter what you choose, right? It's like you don't have to worry about scalability and interoperability and all these other things. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. Like you're just building your own project. If you're doing it somewhere else, though, chances are most corporations are using something.
Yep.
Oh, you're gonna have to.
There's no way, man. You guys are talking about maybe signing Baker Mayfield. Like, come on. So.
That's funny. Okay.
If that's where you I'm sorry, I'll get started.
No, I know. Let's not go down the football path. We'll lose half the audience and be like, why are these guys talking about football? Football. I don't even know what football is. Like, that's, you know. Okay, Shinova said, just landed a web design internship. Is this good? A front-end developer role?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
man. Anything that you're doing, hopefully you're getting paid. But if not, I hope you're learning a lot of things, or you're doing both, getting paid and learning a lot. So
that's the thing. Make sure you use the opportunity to learn. Yeah, make sure you use the opportunity to learn stuff. Yep. Let's see. Eric says, I was hired at a job that said I would be doing some debugging along with other IT stuff. I'm hearing now that I may not see code for 6 months or longer. Would you stay or would you look for another?
Both. So I would stay for a minute, just see what's going on. You know, you're getting paid, and then you also can always look too at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can say, I'm going to stay here, but if something comes up, I'll take it.
That's what I do. I wouldn't quit.
Yeah.
But I would also look for something else.
Yeah, you can look around.
You get paid. It's a foot in the door. You're on the right. You're on the right ladder, right? You're on the right.
Yeah.
You're in the right direction. It's better than
easy to find a job while you're being paid than when you're not. So.
Exactly. It's better than being unemployed or driving Uber or something, right? Or something non-related.
Yeah, exactly.
You fringe in the field, right? So just stick with it. It'll be easier to get that other position, but I would keep.
Yeah. It does sound like they bait and switched you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which, can happen. So Fru Jr. says, I'm learning for 2 years now. So I've been learning for 2 years, but not constant. This sounds like the other question too. And I always find repeating the same. Oh, let's go. Okay, so going over the same content. Any advice to stay consistent? Because now I want to make a career.
So here's what I tell everyone too: is like take a Post-it note on your monitor and write down your why you're doing this, and then make a contract with yourself that you're going to not quit because you're doing this for a particular reason. That could be money, could be career, could be, I don't know, your back hurts and you're digging ditches. And so like, my back really hurts. Just stick that on that monitor so you can make sure that you stay consistent. This is why I'm doing this. Some people are doing it because they want to provide for their family or their kids, or they want to give them a better life or those kind of things. And they can't do that with their current role and positions. So that way you can stay consistent, but build a project, build something, and maybe that'll get your creative juices flowing each time. Like, ooh, I need to finish that. I need to finish that feature. So that's the other part you can do. That's how I stay consistent. Have a goal to finish building a project, and then start another project, and then start another one until you're ready to look.
Yep. I think the issue often comes also from if you find yourself re-going over the same content over and over and over again because maybe you feel like you just don't understand it. It's because you haven't put it into practice.
Yeah, you need to put it into practice.
You haven't put it into practice, and it's pure academia, and it's just like then you're just trying to remember things from memory, and that's when it becomes tough. You're right; you are going to forget it if you're not using it.
That's the main problem I have with a lot of JavaScript content out there. It's all based in and around console log, and that really doesn't show you what JavaScript's for. JavaScript is the language of the web, which means it's meant to interact with a web page. I mean,
your environment should be a web browser, right? Not a command line.
Not console. I mean, it just sounds silly. Like, hey, I did FizzBuzz in a console. Like, well, can you write those values to a web page? No. Okay.
Right.
So you need to do that. What's the point? That's not the point. So, I think just keep building projects, and I think maybe that'll keep you consistent. All right, cool. Hope that helps.
Yep. Okay. Interesting one. Devlogs, do CS degrees have no value?
They have value, but when we went back and looked at the Hired report, one of the things that's really interesting is that we're saying under 50% of people working in industry today were CS degree people.
And becoming less. More and more were self-taught or went to a boot camp.
Yeah, or a combination of both. I mean, and that's because I think what you're seeing in the industry is a shift in how people learn to code, how the education route's going to work. And universities, I know I'm probably going to get hit by the professors in the crowd, but they have fallen behind on the technology stack side. So they're no longer really super relevant. So, I mean, yes, there's some value in it and say, hey, we're going to build a compiler, but they build compilers 20 years ago because that's what was needed at the time when they were doing it. You know what? That's relevant. What's relevant now? Building an app, building a web page. What do I need to know now to be competitive in the environment? So, I mean, you can sit there and say, hey, I can build a compiler, therefore I can build anything. Can you though? I mean, is a compiler built with CSS, JavaScript, and HTML? No. Okay. You probably can't build a web page at that point. Could you learn it? Yes. But that's the problem. You come out with a CS degree and then you have to learn something else to be marketable in the marketplace. So you might as well learn something else first. And that's why you're seeing bootcamp, self-paced learning, Udemy, and all these things spring up, because that's becoming the source of knowledge. And what you're seeing is people that are in hiring positions, that's how they learned. And they also, how do I keep current? Self-paced courses, Udemy tutorials. And they're like, you can learn new stuff that way. And so therefore you could learn this stuff for the first time. So it's not that CS degrees have no value. They do have value. They still hold value, weight, and things like that. But your skills, your portfolio have more value. It's going to increase your potential to earn way more because now you've implemented real world things.
Definitely. So there'll still be some companies out there that are going to be like, they're not even going to look at you if you don't have a CS degree. And that's just how it is. You just have to realize that that's the case. Yeah, that's just going to be the case. But there's an increasing amount that do not care about that. They just care that you can do the work. Can you code? Yeah.
Could you learn data structures, the CSS 101 stuff on Udemy and somewhere else? Yes. It's very Googleable at this point. So there's no secret behind there.
Yep.
So
you just got to do the work.
Yeah, you guys do the work, man.
Let me see. Adbahut says, my question is, I'm working as a QA analyst. So what should be my path to be a web developer?
Start building web projects. Start learning the skills that you need to do to build web project. Hopefully as a QA analyst, you're scripting some, maybe. So that could be a role there that you can use some of that knowledge of scripting, and then you can move that into building full-blown web apps. But you need to just jump in and start building stuff. And then hopefully you're working at a company as a QA analyst. I guarantee you, if you're a QA analyst there, they have a dev team. So you can build relationships with that dev team to see kind of what they're looking for and then target that dev team that you're currently working at as your first job.
That's it. Okay, here we go. Kevin says, question from the last session. Did we miss it, or was it just at the end or something? I don't remember this. What do you consider a feature versus a service in ASP.NET? The self-paced course usually divides videos into those sections. Curious on your take.
So let's talk about services. What we're talking about services, thing that can be injected. And so a service is usually an interface and a concrete class that we can inject into a controller somewhere. That's what we mean by service. It's a very concrete term in and around when we're talking about ASP.NET. A feature is like a collection of things that we're going to build, and that feature does this. So maybe a view, and then it's a database, it's a collection of classes and some services to accomplish that feature set. So hope that helps.
Do that. Gene Solo says, as a junior front-end web developer, what kind of interview questions should we expect? I typically see people recommending coding questions, such as leak code as practice.
So part of it, yes, but yeah, I do. And we made a whole course around it called the interview. Yeah. So I do think there are some leak code style questions that you could ask. So, but they generally focus in around the data structure, binary tree reversal, and those kind of things. And depending on what you're interviewing. If you're interviewing just for front end, you're probably a lot of questions you're going to get are in and around JavaScript and the tech stack that you're using. So that's where I would focus, is learning about that tech stack and Googling the top 50 interview questions and insert your stack. That could be JavaScript, that could be React, it could be Angular. And then I would, that's what I would study. And then if you come across how to reverse a binary tree on a front end dev kit, of course, they're interviewing for the wrong
they're
thing.
doing
it's
it
just
wrong.
Like, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, like, so that's what I would focus on, is learning about JavaScript. So you may find, what's an object in JavaScript? You may see a question like that. What is an object? What is an array? I mean, those kind of things. So
it comes back to the same. You can use the same technique that we've always taught here, and that is show your work, right? So if somebody asks you like that array, you literally say, "Oh, let me show you. I use that in this project right here," and you pull it up. And here's my array, and then you talk about it, and bam, there you go.
Yep. And then you get a job. So it's kind of that easy. All right, Jeans. Hope that helps.
Here's an open-ended question, because this is Mailer said, "How much money should I ask for being a software developer trainee?"
Depends on where you live, man. I don't know.
Market
where you live,
value,
so.
right? I mean, that's the kind of the real answer, right? Is like whatever it's paying in your market.
Yeah.
So
if you're in the U.S., I think the minimum wage is around $40,000 a year minimum for this kind of role. So, but you're using the word trainee. So does that mean you're coming in, you don't have any skill, whatever, and that may be even lower? But I mean, $20 an hour is probably the minimum here. If you're in another country, I don't know if it's a different.
Just you want to look at whatever exactly. Whatever your market is kind of demanding at that point in time. That's what you want to look for. You can find that just by looking at other people's jobs, right? Some people will post their salaries, and you're going to kind of figure it out from there, like what that average is going to be. And
so in the U.S. market, 40 to 65, maybe as high as 70 for a junior. You're not going to make 150 as a software developer trainee. I mean, you're going to need 5 years, 10 years experience to do that. So hope that helps.
Yep. Okay. Camis, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Camis, hello, as 32-year-old, still time to switch career from a French teacher to web developer. No IT background. Is there any right roadmap for me to not waste time? So
we think full stack web dev is the way to go. That consists of learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's the front end part of it. Then you need a back end language. I think there's only 2 to choose from, and we recommend one of those 2. So the back end is C# or JavaScript backends, and so we teach the C# ASP.NET as a full stack web dev. You could also go down the React and Angular route as a JavaScript backend too. Yes, you could do Java if you want a third choice, and that's Spring MVC. But those are the 3 I would pick one. If you're asking us to recommend you one, we're going to say go to learn.coder Foundry and learn ASP.NET and web development. That's what we're going to tell you to do, and that'll get you there. Could you do it as React? Yes. Could you do it as Angular? Yes. So pick one of those, and until you're proficient with it, stay with it. Don't jump around and learn 40 other ones. I would stay away from full stack Python at this point because you're trying to break in, less jobs there. So you're going to stick in React and or C# ASP.NET. That's what I would do. And that way you don't waste your time.
I would also say 32 years old isn't too old. Switching from a teacher is great. We've seen lots of teachers switching to web dev, and they've all done really, really well. It's historically great. Having no IT background, not an issue. And you like Bobby said, sticking with a single stack will make sure that you don't waste your time. You don't want to run down.
And you already have an awesome dev logo. You got the K that screams to the brackets. I like that.
You're already branded. Which actually will come to Paulad's question about the branding. So from 1 to 10, how important is brand building and self-marketing for getting hired?
10. It's important. Like it just makes the process shorter. If no one knows who you are or what you can do, it's hard for them to hire you. So you have to build a brand and self-market for them to find you, so you have more opportunities to interview for a job. It makes sense. If you have a great brand, you actually had a YouTube channel that had 80,000 subs or something like that, it gets you lots of opportunities. So that's what you're doing. You could talk to Cody after 30 as an individual and how his branding and stuff is probably helping him quite a bit. I mean, even our friend Danny Thompson talked about this, where he he interviewed for a job, and he says, the interviewer said, "Never in my life have I known more about a candidate than you."
Right. You literally just, you're right. There's a point where you almost, you don't have to get, you don't get interviewed, right? You just kind of get like, hey, I know who you are. I know what you can do clearly. You come work for us.
Yeah. So building a brand by blogging, build a brand by releasing educational content on YouTube or engaging on Twitter, follow people that could hire you.
That's the thing, like how you go about this, there's a ton of different ways, right? So through the bootcamp, we suggest people, firstly, they build a bunch of sites, right? So a bunch of endpoints on the internet, places where people can find you, that acts kind of like a web, so they can always come back to your portfolio. And then using things like Twitter and then writing blogs. That's what we kind of suggest people do. It's kind of the easier ways to do it. There's less barrier for entry for those things. Setting up a YouTube channel.
It's hard to build a YouTube channel. You can ask Paul. It's hard to do. So like, it's, self-marketing is definitely going to help you shorten the process for sure.
Yep. But I would also say on the other end of that, like, can you get a job without the self-marketing part? Yeah.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, you can just apply directly to all the places and work with a recruiter. Sure.
Yeah. So, let's see where we at. Interesting one. I don't think we really talked about this before. But how do you build contacts remotely?
I don't know what he
LinkedIn.
means, but
I mean, I'm guessing like a network, right? I'm guessing like through LinkedIn or through. I mean, LinkedIn would be my number one for sure, and then Twitter's a secondary.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn for sure.
Twitter, LinkedIn, build relationships with people, offer value to people, and then you can build contacts of people you can go to when you need something.
Yep, definitely. Let's see. This is always an interesting question. Brandon wants to know how to measure when it's a good time to apply for jobs when transitioning into a career change. It's like, how do you know how much? Do I know enough? That kind of question, right? It's always that question.
So when you can build a project, I think you're good. It's good to go. Start applying. You can always talk to a recruiter and show them what you have and ask them their advice too. Is another thing you can do.
Yep. I think what happens here a lot of times is people wait too long.
Yeah.
It's better to start early. Start early, and if you're gonna fail, just fail, and then you'll know what you do need to know, right? Don't worry about like, your dream job comes around and it's like, man, I really flunked that like dream job application. Don't worry, it'll come around again or whatever, or something. You just start early. It's less than you. And right now,
it's portfolio of projects.
The barrier is lower than it's ever been. So now is like it's not as high as you think it is. You may have enough already if you've built a few things, and you can talk about a couple of different things. That may be enough. So don't hold yourself back. Don't put yourself out of the running. Let them do that, right? Like just apply and then see what happens.
And if you get rejected, ask for feedback. Ask them what they think, and don't take it personal. And don't go blast them when they tell you you don't have enough skills to do this. Like, just take it under advisement. Write down every question you get asked in an interview, and see if you can go back and answer those in a post-mortem interview. And then eventually you'll break in and do it. So it may take a minute. Don't get discouraged and get down. Every interview leads to you learning more, and the more you know, the better chance you have of getting a job.
Yep. Let's do this one real quick too. Why do you this has an assumption in it, which I think is wrong. Why do you think .NET Core isn't utilized more for startups?
It is. Like, it is used. So like, it's just saying that it's not. I mean, like, that's crazy. So Microsoft has released stats on this. Most of the people using .NET Core are smaller companies, so typically startups. I've had a startup, had a fraud company startup. Everything was built on ASP.NET, and we had, at the end of it, when I left, I sold my shares in 2018. We had 700, 800, maybe 1,000 banks. I can't remember exactly in the fraud area. So, yeah, lots of startups use .NET. A lot of them do it. So, it's a great choice. I mean, like, it's, it covers all the bases. I don't see why you wouldn't do it, but like, it does. There's nothing keeping you from doing it. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. If that's the core skill that your dev team has, build it on .NET.
You definitely get it right. If you if you have like a bunch of people and they all know .NET and C#, you're not going to be like, well, we're a startup, so we're going to build this with Learn Stack, like Ruby, whatever it is. Exactly. Like,
That's what all the cool kids are doing. That's what the startup's working for.
But it's a startup.
Because your startup, typically when you're selling your startup or marketing your startup, they don't care about the technology you're using to build the thing. A lot of people get hung up on this, and it's not about that. It's about the problem it solves in the marketplace and how you're going to acquire customers and do customer retention. So it's acquisition, retention, and then the problem it solves is the more important thing than how you built it and how you got there. So.
Yep, definitely. Alva wants to know when we do more portfolio reviews. Maybe next week again. We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see. If you guys keep watching, so
yeah,
last
watching
Tuesday
the portfolio review show. So yeah, and we like doing them. We love seeing you guys work. So yeah, we'll do another one of those maybe next week, and I'll put out that link if you haven't already put yours in. We'll put out that link again so people can go ahead and put their portfolios in there.
Get after it.
Okay, you want to do one more?
One more for the road here. All right, it's 1 o'clock. All right, cool.
Give Cena, hopefully I'm getting that right, Cena some advice. Considering dropping out of a master's and to get a full-time dev job, am I on the right path?
As soon as you have an undergrad, I'm assuming you're doing that, and you're dropping out of master's for money reasons, and if you can get a full-time dev job, sure. I mean, but if you really want that master's degree, then finish what you got. I don't know how close you're.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing. How close are you?
You got one course left, we'll go finish it. I'm all about finishing things and completing what you start. But if you need to make money, I get it, man. And you think you can get a dev job, go do it.
It also depends what the end goal is, right? If the end goal is to get the master's to get the job, why not just take the job without the master's? Yeah. Right? That's how I think of it.
Yeah, and you can always finish the master's part-time and
exactly
do it that way as well. So you can actually do both.
Yep. Depends on how close you are.
Yep.
Getting it done too. So yeah, if you're close, stick with it. If it's, if not, then yeah. And if you have an opportunity to get the job, go for the job. Don't feel bad either way. Just pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and most master programs are built for people that are working anyway. They typically know that people are working and they're getting their masters while they're working.
Yep. Okay, cool. We'll be back on Tuesday. Something else. We might do portfolio. Might do another Q&A on Tuesday. Maybe we'll do portfolios Thursday. I don't know. We'll mix it up. I don't know. You'll see on Tuesday when we post it.
All right. Hey, thank you, Raider Mac and Brent and Casper for the super chats today. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yep, definitely. That'll get us tacos because I'm hungry now.